guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be doing some mass-produced Christmas cards using the BetterPress system. If you're not familiar with the BetterPress system, I will be leaving a playlist up here in the corner to give you more information on that, including the first time that I saw this at Creativation. Fabulous. What this basically is, Spellbinders has made an easy, quick and easy, super simple, super hard to mess up way to do BetterPress. Traditional BetterPress, you used brayers and lots of ink, and it was incredibly messy, all the things. With this, this is the entire system. This is the whole thing, okay? So we've got I think this is called the Chase, and I think this is called the Platinum. I will make sure to put in here somewhere what they are actually called in case I got them wrong. So we've got this platform here. We've got this magnetic platform piece, and then we've got some shims. Now what the shims do is it makes it so that it gives a better impression. This is going to be probably the easiest way you've ever found to do stamping in general, but the BetterPress is even better than that. These are some metal plates that impress the image into your cardstock. So if you're using really good quality letterpress paper, you're going to have a really fabulous texture. Today, what I'm going to be using, haven't 100% decided, but I do have some letterpress paper. These are the papers that come with the kit from Spellbinders. They have kind of a linen finish. They just feel so pretty, but I don't have a lot, so I have not been using them. Yeah, because I don't want to run out, and I do definitely need to order some more. On top of that, though, I'm going ahead and I'm going to try it out on some watercolor paper, so we're going to see how that works out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our plates here. I've got a cute Santa and a sentiment. And I'm going to just place it on here kind of where I want it. One of the nice things about this magnetic platform is it's already marked off with what the size of your card is going to be. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll put Santa over here, and I'll have a holly jolly Christmas up here, and everything's got the grids so that you can see exactly where it's going to go. And I know me, I'm going to trim it down, so I'm not going to go too close to the edges here. I'm going to make sure I leave a little bit of space. I think if I move this one over just a little bit more, that should be about right. Now I'm going to take this piece, okay? What we're going to do here is we're going to tape a piece of card down. And it has those measurements on there too. It's got the A2 measurements. I'm going to just place a card down on there and tape it into place. And the only time that you really need to be concerned about how close you are to the edge is whether or not you have an image that's going to go up there, because if you have tape in the way, of course, it's not going to work. Okay, next we're going to take some letterpress ink. This is some special ink designed by Ranger. It is archival ink, and this it's basically thicker than regular archival ink. Doesn't mean that's the only ink you can use, and I have used the letterpress system with all of my inks and just plain cardstock, the whole bit, but it really depends on what kind of results you want. Okay, so the way that Denzel told me to do this is you do kind of a tap and twist, because you don't want the ink to go kind of in between everything, right? You just want it to cover those raised edges. Okay. So now we've got Santa all covered. And I think I've got enough ink on that sentiment. And it did leave everything straight. So just looking again on those grid marks, it looks like my sentiment is mostly straight. Let me do a little bit of an adjustment. Without touching the ink. There we go. And now I'm going to just place this on top. One of the fun things is we've got little magnets here, and they are spring-loaded, so that when I put this down, it's not going to touch the ink at this point. Then all we do is we run it through our die cutting machine, just like if we were using our cutting dies or if we're doing an embossing folder. You just run that right on through. And just run it through once. Don't back it up. If you back it up and anything happens to shift, you may get a little bit of ghosting. Okay, so now we're going to just lift it off. Again, those are spring-loaded, so it popped everything right back up. And now we have a perfect stamped image of our Santa. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. The reason is I want to switch inks. If you're doing the same color ink though, just keep going until you're done and then you can clean it up. Now, I have seen a couple of different ways to clean up. One is using Ranger Archival Ink Cleaner, because this is an archival ink, and I have been using this quite a bit. Another thing you can do is a bottle of alcohol. So I'm going to start off with the alcohol, and you can see it's kind of already taking care of that. And since I don't want this to move, I am going to basically blot it off and just using a baby wipe to try to pick up most of that excess. It's another reason why I'm not using this time around is because I don't really want to move my images. So I'm going to just go over it a couple of times, and I'm going to say that that's going to be good enough. And then we can start with some additional ink. The ink I'm going to use this time is going to be a water base instead of an alcohol or oil base ink. And that is going to be my Simon Hurley, because I love that color of red. Yeah. Also going to go ahead and blot some of this alcohol off so it doesn't cause any kind of artsy looks on my card. But alcohol does tend to dry pretty quick anyway. Okay, looks like everything is still lined up. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the archival ink. I'm going to take my pad here and just going to tap and twist. And I'm going to be kind of gentle on it. Again, I don't want to move it around. And I have noticed that you do kind of have to do a swiping kind of motion with Simon's inks to get them to come out of the pad. They stay in there real nicely because it is a felt pad and not a foam pad. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the first one. Let's go ahead and take this off. And I'm just going to put another piece of that watercolor paper down in the same spot. Just to hold it in place. And now we're going to stamp it down, running it through our die cutting machine. And that looks awesome. Now I could probably have gotten a little bit of a darker color of ink. The red here, and I probably didn't put quite enough on there, but it's still, the stamping is still pretty much perfect. Look at that. So I'm trying something a little bit different. I've got this Lisa Horton interference inks, which means to get the pretty gold color, which is this, the way that it works, it's like it's a blue ink, but then it turns to a goldish color on dark cardstock. So I'm going to use just some regular, this is lightweight, really lightweight cardstock, but I did go ahead and add an additional shim. Now the way that this works is underneath here we can put a couple of shims. There are 3 shims that come with it. These are Mylar shims that are nice and thin, and that's to give enough extra pressure for when you're running it through your die cutting machine to get that good letterpress look. I decided to put an additional cardstock shim in here, and this is going to make it so that it's going to give just a little bit more pressure. This one is actually heavyweight cardstock, but that's going to give it a little extra pressure for my lightweight cardstock. Now Spellbinders, I don't know if they've done it yet, but I know that they're supposed to be coming out with some even thicker weight, nice letterpress cardstock if they haven't already done so. And that's one reason why they have the shims. With a really thick cardstock, you won't need the shims. Okay, so we're going to do this with the Lisa Horton ink. And this is a blue ink that turns gold on dark cardstock. And I am going to just kind of whisk it around like this. This is also a foam pad, so you do not want to push down on it because that's going to put way too much ink down. But I want to make sure I get enough coverage. And again, I am going to do a little bit more of the twisting to try to get just a little bit more on there. There we go. I know I've kind of made a mess, but that's okay. Next, we're going to put my cardstock onto our Platen Chase. I don't remember. I will definitely make sure to leave that note for you guys, though, so you know what they're called. Eventually, I will get it. I just have to play with this stuff more. So I'm putting down another couple of pieces of my best ever craft tape. Oh, there's the other piece to hold it in place. And I think that that looks lovely. I mean, the ink is really, really cool. This is, like I said, it's got that gold sheen, but if you tilt it just right, you still see that little bit of blue. And I think that is absolutely gorgeous. So one of the first things I thought when I saw this at Creativation back in April, beginning of April, was these are metal. So I wonder if you can foil with them. Well, the answer to that is yes. You can foil using your BetterPress plates. Meaning if you don't have the system, the BetterPress system, you can still get some really gorgeous designs using these. But it does work really, really well as a BetterPress system, as stamping. So we're going to start with this one that says, all is calm, all is bright. And the way that it's going to work is you can use this just like you would a foil plate with your Glimmer foil system. However, you cannot use foil plates through the BetterPress system. These are different thickness. So this is one of the Glimmer plates. This one is from the Sunflower Borders September 2023 Glimmer of the Month. And you can see the thickness there. And it is a little bit thicker, I don't know if you can see that, than this other plate, the one that is a BetterPress. So that is the reason for that. Also, when you're looking at your plates, if they are all Spellbinders Glimmer are all in this nice bronze, and all of the new BetterPress are all going to be in the silver, okay? So that's one way that you can keep track of them when you're looking at them in your stash in case they get mixed up. So we're going to treat this like we would a regular Glimmer plate when we're going to do our hot foiling with it. I've got my Glimmer system off to the side, already warming up. It's almost ready to go. And I've got some smooth cardstock here. And since I'm just starting off with this one that is a sentiment, actually, I think what I'm going to do, on my system, I decided to try to make it a little easier for me to work with, and I added some Sharpie tick marks right at the spots where an A2 size card would go. So I am going to just add this right into the middle and use the grid lines that are on my Glimmer system to try to line this up pretty much straight. Now, if it's not exact, that is totally fine. You know why? Because I'm going to be trimming the edges anyway. So now I've got some hot foil. This one is the color Aura, which is kind of a gold iridescent. And just go ahead and cut that off. We're going to put the foil on our Glimmer system with the shiny side down. And now the reason for this is we want the matte side to be touching the cardstock. Regardless of what kind of foiling you do, whether it is toner or heat, you always want the adhesive, the matte side, to be touching the cardstock, and that also means that the shiny side is going to be facing away, and that's what you want. Then we've got our thin shim, which is heat resistant, and we've got our spacer pad, and I'm just going to hit the timer to give that a chance to heat up nicely. Okay, so this has had time to heat up, and I'm just going to go ahead and roll that right on through. And the heat and the pressure is going to put that down onto my card. Okay, let's get the die cutting machine out of the way and take a look. So I'm letting it cool just a little bit so that it has a chance to really do that good adhere. And let's take a look. Ooh, that is pretty. That is very lovely. I love that shine. So since we've been doing black and white card, I'm going to do another one on black cardstock. This one is on the black cardstock, so let's take a look at it. Oh, love that. That is just lovely. Okay, so we've got one more brand new plate that I want to use today, and that one is the Poinsettia Corner. So far, we've done Holly Jolly Santa, we've done All is Calm, All is Bright, and we did Oh Come Let Us Adore Him. And you can kind of see the difference on this. This one looks really pretty with that iridescent the iridescent gold stamping, but the foil has a little bit more shine. So they both look gorgeous, but I have to say I love my foil. Yep, I think foiling is one of my favorites, but it does take a little bit more work, and you do need a hot foil system to get that really, really pretty look if you're using plates like these. So this one is called Poinsettia Corners, and we're going to do the same kind of thing, setting it all up on our glimmer system so I can get all the plates exactly where I want them. And some of these do have a die that goes with it. The Holly Jolly Santa has a die that goes with the sentiment, and this one has one that goes with Merry Christmas, so you could just do the sentiments. Okay, so I'm kind of lining it up with the corner, and like I said, I am planning on trimming it a little bit, so let's come in just a touch, and then I'm going to go with my Merry Christmas sentiment up here, and lining that up with the grid to try to make it be about straight. That looks close enough. And now I'll go ahead and put some of the foil down. And for this one, I think I'm just going to go with the black cardstock. I think that looks really, really, really pretty. Okay, let's see how this guy looks. Ooh, now that is lovely. So anyway, let's go ahead and start putting together some of these cards. I mean, we've got a bunch of panels ready, and the cards are mostly done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like I said, it's real easy to do some mass producing. You could pick one of these designs and just go, and they're so quick and easy to do. So on these, I decided I want to use a stencil I've got from my stash. This is called All the Stars from Spellbinders. And I'm just going to add some little stars kind of around our sentiment. Yeah, using the same ink that we used before. Now, I don't know if this is overkill using this big foam blending brush, but I've also got a little brush to go and do some of these little tiny pieces, and I'm just going in around all the areas, just kind of have it not covering our sentiment, of course, but going around all the background. So let's take a look and see how that did. And now we have some stars all around it, and they are with that same ink, so even though it went on blue, they do have that gold and blue kind of glistening on the card. So now we're going to start putting together the cards. I went through my stash and pulled out some panels that I made a while back, and I'm going to use those, plus possibly some pattern paper that, again, I've got in my stash. And I'm just going to do some die cutting. I'm using the notch corner frames. Those are fairly new from Spellbinders. I'm really liking these. And I'm going to cut these out, basically cut out our main panel sentiment, trim it down, and give it some nice little notched corners. So we've got our All is Calm, All is Bright sentiment, and that's going to go over this panel that is basically cleanup from where one of my markers spilled, and that I added some prism paste, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Haven't used it a lot, but I do kind of like that shine. So I'm going to use, that's going to basically be the front of my card. I will trim this down a little bit to give that little white border. So I'm going to go ahead and do kind of the same thing with all of my cards, trim them down and getting them ready to go on the front of a card base. So I've got everything trimmed down to where I want it. This card, I'm not going to actually put anything additional because I think it's perfect just the way it is. And I'm just going to add some foam tape to most of these, to be honest, because foam, yeah, love it. I love that little bit of dimension being added with a little bit of foam tape. This is some thin foam tape that I've got from Scotch. Oh, by the way, there's always links down in the description to the products that I use. And if there's anything that's not and you have a question about it, just let me know and I'll be happy to look into it for you. For this one, I was using some 6x6 pattern paper and I really like the outsides of it, so I just trimmed it in half. And I'm going to glue it down and have it overlap in the center so we're able to use that, the foliage behind our main panel. And then again, add some foam behind our main panel. So we have got eight cards in almost no time. And let's go ahead and take another quick look at that. This one has got the interference ink and the BetterPress and the stenciling of the little stars. I think that turned out super cute. This one's the same, just a little bit of a different background. We've got a couple of the Holly Jolly. And again, I'm just using some pattern papers and panels that I had in my background, and some panel backgrounds that I had in my stash. This one has got that lovely hot foil and that prism paste background that I, again, something out of my stash. This one is all the hot foil goodness. Love, love, love it. And this last one, again, is the hot foiling, but then again with that fun stenciled stars. So yeah, like I said, guys, these are some quick and easy cards. You could definitely mass produce something like this and just use what's in your stash and the BetterPress system. So you guys have a wonderful day. Be sure to check out this playlist to see more projects where I'm using Spellbinders products. If you have any questions about the BetterPress or foil or whatever, be sure to drop me a note and let me know. And you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.